It can be really handy to have multiple people working on a website, and WordPress allows any number of users to access the administrative area. In this video, I cover the different user roles that WordPress offers by default and the basic capabilities of each. I'm also going to look at how to add a new user, manage existing ones, and along the way we'll talk about some of the ways your clients might want to use this feature. Now, at the very least, you and your client are going to need separate user accounts for their WordPress site, but your client may want to grant access to others as well, but they probably don't want all users to have the same amount of access. So for example, your client wants someone in the office or a virtual assistant to be updating the site's blog, but they don't want that person to touch things like the theme or categories for posts. So all you do is you assign that person, say, to an author role. Now, here's an example. Administrators see all of these functions, all of these menu items when they log into WordPress. An author, however, sees this very restricted number of things they can do. So that's what roles are all about, is restricting the access that you have within WordPress. These are the 5 default administrative roles in WordPress. You can add more roles through plugins and so forth, but out of the box, this is what you get in WordPress. The administrator, of course, can access everything. Anything to do with content, appearance, all of those things. An editor is strictly dealing with the content. They can publish and manage all the posts and pages, anybody's, not just their own. They can also edit and delete and change post categories. Authors are much more restricted than that. They can only manage their own posts, and they can actually publish live to the site. The difference between an author and a contributor is contributors can't publish. So they can log in, they could enter a new post, manage their own post, edit it, but they can't publish. That has to be left to an editor to do. The final role on this group is subscriber. Now, really from an administrative standpoint, they can't do anything except edit their own profile. Really, they're meant to be like members on a site who can view certain content on the website that the public can't view. But from an administrative standpoint, no, they can't do anything at all really except manage their own profile. Let's go back over to the WordPress.org site, and there is a URL here for roles and capabilities. And this will tell you everything that each of the roles can do. And you can, in fact, click on any of these functions to see exactly what it means. There's the administrator, of course, can do absolutely everything. Editor can really only do a limited amount, authors, contributors, and so forth. Now, let's go over to here on the sidebar, the side menu here. Under Users, you can see Add New. This is where you're going to be creating new user accounts. And when I click on this, I have to enter a username and then a user email. This email is important because that's how they retrieve lost passwords. In fact, down here, you can even have the password sent directly to this email address when you create the new user. Put in their first name, last name, their website. Then there's a place to give them a password. And as you start entering, of course, they check how weak or how strong it is. You have to enter it again just to be on the safe side that you got it right. It'll tell you whether it matches or not. And then you choose, and this is really the crucial thing here, to choose their role. Administrator, editor, and so forth. By default, this is set to subscriber. Now you can change that in the WordPress settings, but I don't recommend it because that determines if you happen to open registration to anyone, that's the default role they would take, and you don't want that to be editor or administrator or anything. Subscriber is a good one to keep it at, and then you choose here. Now I should mention when you go into manage users, and this is where they'll all come up in a list. It'll tell you what their role is and so forth, and you can email them directly and so on. But the key is that you can change someone's role once you've created it. The only thing you can't change is if there's only one administrator, you can't change them because there has to be one administrator. One other thing that you might want to look at for plugins, when you edit a profile, you cannot actually add an image for the users. And that's very important sometimes. On a website you want a picture of the authors and so on. Now WordPress does use the gravatar.com system, which is great in one respect, but you can't actually upload images here. As I say, there are plugins that will allow you to do that, so you're not stuck if you actually do want that capability. So there you have it, an overview of users and how to add them and so forth, what they can do, can't do, and how they might be useful to your clients.